Hi everyone, how you doing? I get asked lots of different questions on lots of different topics, obviously. But one thing I do want to talk about a little bit is the whole idea of life and death, and what occurs when we die. Okay, so really the first thing I want to say is that life and death are concepts. Okay, what we are is a consciousness, is a sentience, and that is eternal. Okay, what we call physical death is simply moving into a different state of being, a different environment. And so physical death in a lot of ways is astral rebirth. And astral death is physical rebirth. Okay, so there's no such thing as actual ending of anything. Things that have a beginning have an ending, like an incarnation. But what gives birth to beginnings and endings is your consciousness, is your sentience, and this is what is eternal. So the moment that we leave our body, or what we call physical death, you are literally going to look at your body with complete and utter indifference. You will have no longing for it, no lamentation over it, no desire to go back into it, because in that single instant that you leave your body, the remembering is going to come right back to what you actually are, and you're going to look at that body and realize, literally in a second, that that's not you. You have no feelings towards it whatsoever. Zero. Now, look at the juxtaposition in terms of that state of being and the state of being that we have now, right? Everything about the body, what we look at, in terms of our five senses, right? Everything is about the physical sensory perception, and then the data that comes in as the intellect. None of these things are actually you. Those are just attributes of the physical vehicle, of the skin suit, of what we call a human being is just sort of a biological garment that we temporarily wear to experience the lower frequencies of the physical universe. And the second that we leave our body, we remember immediately. We remember what we are in that second. That's all it takes. Now, where most people, from my understanding, my experience, where most people go immediately are still the lower frequencies, or what we call the astral realm, which would be the fourth frequency, fifth, sixth, and seventh. And again, for those of you that know and work with me or have read some of my material, we are not in the third dimension, and we're not going into the fifth dimension. We are in the third frequency. Energy exists frequentially, it doesn't exist dimensionally. We're in the first full dimension. The first full dimension is all physicality. So when we leave our body, or what we call death, the first thing that we do is we immediately go to a frequency above, or what we call the astral realm. So we'll be immediately outside of the physical body. The environment will be completely different. We will feel like ourselves immediately. And in the beginning, souls seem to vacillate a little bit in the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh frequency. Now, understand, once you start to operate in this realm, time is not experienced in the way that we experience time at all. So, what can seem like just a few moments in these higher frequencies, 200 years can pass here within the lower frequencies where we are now. So we have no frame of reference, and actually, this is what I would like to see to change for people. And this to me is part of why meditation, authentic meditation, not the nonsense that passes for meditation today. Authentic meditation, when done properly, should annihilate the very idea that you're merely human. And meditation should allow you to leave the confines of physical sensory perception, and therefore the identification with the body. And it's a tangible remembrance of what you really are. You are a consciousness, a sentience. You are formless. You are free. You are unconditioned. Right? None of this is us. The thoughts aren't us. What we see isn't us. The body isn't us. The intellect isn't us. Concepts and beliefs isn't us. And this just comes back like that upon leaving the body, or what we call death. There's no such thing as death. It's a concept born of an unawakened mind. We simply go into a higher state of being, of existence, a more holistic environment, closer, but not yet closer to where we originate from. And where we actually originate from is much higher dimensions. It's nothing even like the astral realm, where we actually come from our higher self. And our higher self can be located depending upon how evolved that higher self is. That's where it will be located within the multiverse. So some higher selves are located in the third dimension. Most human beings, their higher self, are located in the fourth dimension. The more evolved souls that you see on this planet, their higher self is located from the fifth dimension. Now, once you start to get to the sixth dimension, these are souls, if they're projecting pieces of themselves here for an incarnation, for the most part, they've evolved enough that they don't need to incarnate any longer. So now we're talking about people that are here to help and to guide other people, whose higher self is from the sixth dimension. And then once you get into the seventh dimension, now you're in a whole nother stratosphere of level of consciousness. And towards the middle of the seventh dimension, now we're talking about ascended master level, Buddha, Christ, Saint Germain. These kind of beings exist from about the middle of the seventh dimension up until about the ninth full dimension. And these are the extraordinarily advanced beings. And so they have no interest in incarnating except to serve and to help. But life and death are concepts. Literally, they're concepts. You are life. It doesn't disappear when you leave your body. If anything, you are awakened into what you actually are. And the moment that you leave, you realize what this really was like. It was just an experience. You just got to wear a suit and immerse yourself with a suit, because the suit must be aligned and energetically connected to the local environment, or the low frequencies. It's the only way a soul can experience here, is to merge with this. This meditative practice, to be able to leave your body, is very important, because it reawakens what you really are even while you're here. And most people have lost total connection with their self directly, their consciousness, their sentience directly. And everything is just five senses, intellect, and bodily sensations. Right? And this is really why we suffer. This is why we suffer. There's absolutely nothing to fear. There is absolutely nothing to try to stave off, to do anything to continue the incarnation. This is a fear-based lower consciousness reaction to what is going on with the body. You're not the body. You're the awareness of what goes on with it. You are life itself. And physical death is just astral rebirth. And astral death is physical rebirth. I would even say that the key is to transcend both of those things. The need to incarnate at all, and the need to go back and forth. And upon the demise of the body, not to sort of only go to the astral realm, but to be able to have carte blanche wherever you want to go. How high the frequency, how high the dimension, and to be able to explore God's multiverse at will. And by the way, that's what an ascended master really is. They have explored from top to bottom, and they have recognized themselves in every realm, in every frequency, in every environment. They have realized the self everywhere. They have ascended through. And this is really what we're all aspiring to. We're all aspiring to this level of self-mastery. To literally hold the power of creativity in our hand, and in a way, to have the power over the concepts of life and death itself. To realize our true power, our true divinity, that nothing is out of our grasp, absolutely nothing. There are many things out of the grasp of the conditioned mind. In fact, most things are out of the grasp of the conditioned mind. And only upon physical death do these things start to come back. The key is to be able to start to experience these things even while you're incarnate. This is really transcending the human condition. And then for the beings like that, there is no such thing as life and death. It is simply just a movement of consciousness. So what we want to do is to live in a high frequency way while we're incarnate. We want to live more like what we really are while we're here. To be in the physical, but not of the physical. To really infuse this realm with our essence, our love, and our wisdom, our depth of self, and infuse this realm with that. And that raises the frequency, and a rising tide lifts all ships. So you can throw away the concepts or the worry. Life and death are concepts. You remain. You are eternal. You are life itself. All of these experiences were built for you, so you could experience yourself everywhere. So you could know yourself completely. Self-realization, to know the self. Do not worry about death. Live your life fully as yourself, and you'll never give death a moment's thought.